Hello, everybody. My name's James. Welcome back to the Planet FPL Weekender. My Friday partner. No, scrub that. He's not my Friday partner in crime. He's my Friday counsellor. It's David Hunter is with me. How are you, mate?
Good, mate, I thought you were going to say Friday enemy because it's the weekend of derby this week, isn't it? But
The
yes,
Weekender Derby. The Weekender Mauling.
I'm not giving it the big one myself after Tuesday night. We'll get on to
Bollocks to you. We'll get that. We'll
that.
talk a little bit Liverpool, Tottenham. We'll start with them in terms of our roundup of the European fixtures. It's kind of going to feel a little bit more like a game review podcast, a little bit. So we're going to cover off all the English sides and what they've done in Europe, and a roundup of what else has happened in Europe. We'll go through some free hit and some wildcard drafts at the end. Please don't do that. But just to give you an idea in terms of players and mind players we think might do this weekend, etc. But I must give a little update from yesterday's Chip Strategy podcast because some heads have exploded following Crystal Palace's failure to beat AEK Larnaca last night. So, as covered yesterday, if City and Palace both go out of Europe, essentially the possibility of City v Palace being rearranged can go pretty much anywhere. That does include game weeks 31 and 32 as possibilities. It hadn't dawned on me till I was tagged in a tweet by Andy, Let's Talk FPL last night, and someone responded and said, "Could the game be arranged into 31 after the 31 deadline?" And I hadn't considered it as a possibility. And the answer essentially is yes, which
Fun
I
and
don't think
games.
it would happen.
Yeah.
But I mean, the head loss that it would cause to people who sold their City assets in 31 and then ended up playing with an arrangement after the deadline would be quite amusing. So obviously, we won't find out till next Thursday night if Palace have gone through or not. And the deadline is the next night. It is a Friday deadline next week. I would imagine if there was intention to arrange City v Palace in 31, it would be done very quickly. But I don't know if it would be inside 24 hours.
Yeah. You're saying it seems quite unlikely though.
Yeah, I would think
Yeah.
so. I don't know why they would rush it into 31 when 32 would be available. That said, City will play Chelsea on the Sunday in 32. I don't know if they're going to want, they'll be thinking, "Ooh, well, Arsenal are going to play in the Champions League, highly likely. If we can have a good week before the Arsenal game, that would probably be preferential to them rather than playing, say, Chelsea Sunday, Palace Wednesday, and then Arsenal obviously on the Sunday. But it would also work for Palace because remember their 33 game is scheduled for the Monday. So for them, it would be a case of all right, play on the Wednesday and then not till the Monday, for example. So for Palace, 32 would sit quite nicely. It also sits okay for City, but is the context of having a game before Arsenal, but so will Arsenal. But 31 is it's not impossible. Honestly, it's not. So again, it's just something to add on to yesterday in terms of just gather a little bit more information. I think these moves, I can totally understand people want to go Haaland to João Pedro at the moment, or particularly Ekateke if you don't own, right? I don't know. I'd maybe hold fire. How gutted are you going to be if you sell
Yeah.
Haaland, Semenyo, and then they end up playing in 31 or 32?
Yeah. Nightmare
Even if
that,
it's
isn't it?
32,
Mm.
they're the ones that you'd want to bench to have ready for the double in 32.
But this is all reliant on Palace getting eliminated
They'd
by.
have they'd have to both they have to both go out. I mean,
Yeah.
City, it's not impossible. City turn it round against Real Madrid. Yes, they would both have to go out, and obviously, therefore, you're not going to get that information till late Thursday night, unless of course City turn it round against Madrid on Tuesday, in which case you can obviously put a cross through it. But yeah, the idea of 31, what it means is if you haven't got an information of an announcement prior to the 31 deadline, and both teams have gone out, if you've got Manchester City players and you're intending to bench them, you should probably leave them in your 11 and go for the old bench wankery.
Yeah.
And obviously, assuming they don't play fine, they get subbed out, but don't put them on the bench.
Yeah.
We'll
That's a
obviously
good
repeat
shout.
this message next week in the eventuality that both teams go out. I would imagine when we do the weekender next week, even if that does happen, we're not going to get the announcement by early Friday morning. So it's just a little something to be aware of. I, for example, own Haaland and Semenyo. I ain't doing shit about it at the moment.
No, no, makes sense. Yeah.
Is that how you feel?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah. like you've just said, if you were to take him out and then that was to materialise, you'd be sick, wouldn't you? So yeah,
Obviously, this does apply to Palace as well, but he's not quite so attractive, right? Essentially, you're putting in an additional fixture away to Manchester City. So I know a few people have been saying, so should I sell like Arsenal or Manchester City assets now? Like, right. Well, there's no way you sell Arsenal assets this week. It's nonsensical. Next week, you might be forced into that decision. If you're sitting there with, say, Gabriel Rice, Semenyo, Haaland, I don't think that's that unlikely.
no, there's plenty you will. Yeah,
What do you sell next weekend under that sort of circumstance?
maybe Rice.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
Reluctantly, would probably have to be, wouldn't it? I think.
I've still got Declan Rice. Certainly not selling him this week for Everton at home, but yeah, there's a decision to make for me next weekend. I mean, obviously, I've not got Semenyo, as has been said countless times. He's absolutely killed me this season, but he would be expendable, I think, although not a must sell. Because I think you were saying there's every chance Arsenal may have a 33 double, haven't you?
Yeah, so, I mean, pretty much very, very, very likely.
Yeah.
That Arsenal would have a 33 double. Obviously, depends on your strategy. No wildcard left.
Me?
Yeah,
I've got wildcard left. Yeah,
yeah. Not gonna use it towards 33. You got the bench boost as well, yeah.
I've got everything.
Yeah. So again, if you sold Rice, you might even be in a position where you're wildcarding 32 to bench boost 33 and bring it back.
Yeah.
The other thing to note is, if the game got arranged to 32 and people were on a wildcard then to bench boost 33. Imagine under a circumstance where City Palace went into 32, but it didn't double in 33 because they've lost to Liverpool.
So they would just have single against Arsenal in 33.
Think about this logically. I think that if both teams go out, I think there's every chance they'll put the game in 32. They're not going to wait till the FA Cup quarterfinals are done to make that announcement because it's that midweek afterwards. So they could go, oh, there's a potential issue here. Let's put City Palace into 32. Then if City lose to Liverpool, their fixture with Burnley stays in 34.
Makes sense.
You probably get Palace double the following week, but you're going to want free City for a double. And then you've got to manoeuvre to the potential bench boost under that circumstance in 33.
Yeah.
That sort of thing is another extremely good reason why hold transfers.
Yeah.
Because under that circumstance, you're going to want a wild card 32 and potentially, because it would be single fixture for City against Arsenal, potentially move out the free City players for doublers in 33. It's chaos. I love it.
Yeah. This is what we want for the engaged managers. This is another reason why I'm probably going to roll again this week, I think, because I have like loads of people listening and watching this. I've got Haaland, I know you have as well. It's not been great, has it?
It's been shy.
Yeah.
If Salah was tearing it up as well, especially, I'd be more inclined to go, let's get this done.
Yeah, but it's probably a 50-50 call. And when it's 50-50 call and you get to keep that additional transfer rolling into it, probably there's just the kind of abiding thing I took from that chip strategy pod yesterday is that there's just so many variables that can happen here. And there's absolutely zero chance of accurately predicting it, really. So you might as well just, while these 50-50 calls are going on, and one of the options is to do nothing and build up these transfers, I think that's by far the best course of action, I think. So yeah, chaos is coming, but it's not happening right now, I don't think, is it?
No. Okay, we'll cover more next week. It's just to be aware at the moment of the possibilities. So yeah, I think for many people, where you can roll, if you've got a decent team this week, roll a transfer, guys, generally. Yeah. Is Hugo Ekitike the best captain this week, David?
Yeah, I think he is, yeah.
What are you taking me for granted for, you bastard?
I can't win with you, even if I say, oh, I'm not too sure.
Very sensible, David.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he is, yeah. I mean, I did actually have a look at the bookies odds yesterday because there are sort of three decent runners, Haaland, Bruno Fernandes, who's consistent as, isn't he, and Ekitike. Haaland and Ekitike's odds are reasonably similar, sort of anytime goal scorers and whatnot. But I mean, what you're seeing from Haaland at the moment and the sort of upturn from West Ham, and the state, I'm afraid to say, of Tottenham at the moment. And Ekatike is going to start. Whereas, can you be
Is that
100%
is that a
sure
certainty
Haaland?
with Ekateke?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
There's no chance he just goes Gakpo 9, Verts left, Salah right.
A very small chance, I think. I'd be very surprised if the team drops on Sunday and Ekatike's not in it. So yeah, I think and I think he's fewer people have got Ekatike. I just quite like the idea of punting Ekatike on Sunday for captaincy, so I think I'm probably going to do it. Fernandez
I
Vice,
don't think it's a punt.
Yeah.
I think the only surprising thing that you said in there, David, that people will go is there's only 3 runners. Is there not 4?
Ego Thiago, yeah, maybe. Is that the fourth one you're thinking
talking about Mo.
Oh, Mo. No. He was poor again on Tuesday. Was it Tuesday? Yeah, it was Tuesday, wasn't it? If you want to go for it, I mean, he's on pens, obviously, and Tottenham are pretty accommodating at the moment, aren't they? So it would be a punt, though, but on the evidence I'm looking at, I mean, Haaland and Salah they're just not worth the money at the moment, are they? On current output,
no.
Can't advise
I don't even know if Palmer will start necessarily tomorrow, considering the turnaround. They've got PSG Tuesday. Saka obviously doesn't have a 31 fixture, so you don't go into that at the moment. Although I think he came off early on
he only played
Wednesday, so he would be a strong contender for this week. But nah,
Ekatike for me, I think. Yeah.
Yep, agreed. Okay, so what happened Tuesday night in Turkey, David?
We were shite, honestly. It was like the bad old days back in October, November, to be honest, where there were just so many gaps all over the pitch. You couldn't really see what the game plan was, if I'm honest. First 5 minutes, which is a mad thing to say, given we conceded in the 6th. We actually played really well in the first 5 minutes. Really aggressive press. Galatasaray kept trying to play out, and we intercepted and turned the ball over pretty much in their area 2 or 3 times. Verts had a really good chance, should do better. And then they go down the pitch, and from their first chance, it's a goal, another badly defended set piece. The atmosphere, you could even hear on the telly, it's just so loud and raucous. So that sort of lends itself to a chaotic atmosphere and a chaotic game. It was like 100 miles an hour, the game, which I accept is very difficult to sort of put your foot on the ball and take the sting out of the game when it's a bit like that. But even so, the amount of times we just gave the ball away, it was so frustrating to watch, honestly. How Alexis McAllister played 90 minutes there, I usually, by and large, stick up for Slot on this podcast, but how he's leaving him on the pitch there for 90 minutes when he's got Curtis Jones on the bench there, someone will have to explain that to me. When one of Jones's best attributes is sort of keeping hold of the ball. Sort of out balls, non-existent. Salah got the ball a couple of times. You're thinking back in the day, he's going to run it as full back. There's just a lack of sort of confidence and explosion when he gets the ball. Verts was on the left, but sort of drifting inside. So you can't even have a go at Gakpo like you normally would in performances like that. Just nobody played well. Canate, back to the bad old days. Very lucky not to give a goal away because a flag comes. We had a goal.
A comical attempt to clear it, and
crazy stuff.
He'd had a cock up where Osman could have done better in the first half as well.
Yeah. Yet again, we're passing to Mamardashvili's right foot when he's left-footed. It's just basic stuff. It's actually a really good result for us because given the level of performance and nobody having a good game, we've got more than a good chance of turning that around, I think, given that Galatasaray don't tend to travel that well. Juventus nearly knocked him out with a man down for large periods.
No away fans at Anfield next week either, by the way.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. But it's just not fun to watch Liverpool. It hasn't been all season. I'm going to say again, to stick up a little bit for Slot in terms of the options at his disposal, when he's got no wide players. Well, he's got 3 wide players, Salah and Gakpo, who aren't playing that well, and a 17-year-old boy who's not physically ready for it. You do have some mitigating circumstances for Slot. but it has. I am the first to admit now that it has to be better than this. In open play, just you don't know what have we been working on in training all week. A lot of the time, it's a lot of the chances that we do create are sometimes just through a little bit of individual quality or a mistake. So yeah, I think I'm getting to the point now where I am thinking like, let's just shake hands at the end of the season, and whether it's Alonso or somebody else, I'm not too sure. It's
Maurizio Pochettino. I'm joking.
Yeah,
yeah, I'm reserved here. Hopefully,
we're just
unless
not going
one of the
to.
Madrid club steps in the way there.
Yeah, we're just not going to turn this corner this season. Basically, it's sometimes we'll play well and we'll win a game, and you think, okay, what are we going to do next? And there's usually a performance like this coming not long afterwards. It's definitely keep slot until the end of the season. It's not that bad, and this is a league winning manager at the end of the day. So, we're not dealing with a poor coach here, but it's pretty tough to watch Liverpool. For any Liverpool fan listen to this, I'm sure they'd agree. It's poor.
Okay. Two controversial disallowed goals in the game. One at each end. Views on them?
So ours, when it went in, I didn't celebrate it. It just looked
weird.
It looked weird. Yeah. I read like Dale Johnson from used to be ESPN. I think he works for the BBC now. He was saying it's probably a little harsh to disallow it. But it didn't look quite right to me. The one that Galatasaray scored, I was absolutely amazed when that was flagged, to be honest. I just thought, Ibu, what are you doing there, mate? Probably both this being disallowed is fair enough, I think.
But I think it should both count.
I was more raging by the level of performance, rather than getting into the ins and outs of the decisions. It was.
I think on your disallowed one, obviously the ruling is if the player scores with his arm, and it definitely hits Konate's arm, then obviously automatically the goal is ruled out. But it's an own goal, isn't it? Like,
seems
it's not going in. He like bounces up and it's the keeper on the back of the arse and goes in, basically.
Yeah.
So I think that should count. The Gala one that was disallowed, Osimhen's, after Konate's weird attempt to try and clear near the line. Do you know what the giveaway is on why that goal should have counted?
Konate's reaction?
No, Van Dijk's reaction.
Oh, right, okay.
He's in no way appealing for anything. He's just head in hands at Konate.
He was all of us.
That's the giveaway. He's not looking for offside or anything. And Verge is, he's the first always to have his arm up. So with that being said, all right, sounds a bit depressing. So why are we captain Ekateke again? Remind me.
Well, because of the opposition that he will face on Sunday.
It's popcorn time, guys.
And he could have scored a couple on Tuesday through his own good work, to be honest. Misses a one-on-one and a decent header, yeah.
I had a brilliant trip to Madrid. Football calamities aside. The Bernabeu, we did a tour of the Bernabeu in the afternoon. I've been before, and I've done the tour before. Although the tour I did 20 years ago, it's very different now. What a place. If you go to Madrid, go and do the tour of the Bernabeu. Like, it is very impressive, and they take you around several areas of the stadium. And obviously, they would normally take you into the dugouts and stuff, pitch side. Couldn't do that because obviously they had the game against City on Wednesday. I did that 20 years ago. Brilliant stadium, and the Wonder is a brilliant stadium as well. As I said on Tottenham on Patreon when I got back, that was some atmosphere at Atleti. Obviously, it tailed off a little bit the longer the game went on, because they knew how shite the opposition was. But to start with, in that first half, wow, they were behind their team. I was 5 rows from the back at the top and had to check over my shoulder at one point in the first half to check that none of them were behind me. Because when they were sitting, it was like it was bouncy. It was like they were singing behind me.
Yeah.
So the acoustics in the stadium were really good and stuff. Terrific support. Good side. Before I get into the Tottenham bit, can I just say Antoine Griezmann, wow.
That touch.
And not just the touch, just the way he played the whole game. I clapped him off.
Yeah, I've not seen the whole game, obviously, because I was watching other things that we'll get onto. But I've seen the touch for that goal for the Alvarez one. Yeah.
I probably wish, in hindsight, that every time I'd clapped an opponent off, I'd written it down in my lifetime, because I'm sure it's happened less than 10 times.
Yeah.
just on a different level, even though he's clearly like not got the speed of what he used to and stuff. We think he's probably going to the MLS in the summer. His understanding the movement, it just seemed to be there on like every second ball. You couldn't get the ball off him. Everything was just so fluid and expertly done with him. What a brilliant performance. Admittedly, opponent, I know. I just wanted to flag that on Griezmann. Absolutely brilliant. Slipping. I've obviously seen since the game several clips of Barcelona players slipping there very recently. Isn't both teams got to play on it, sort your feet out properly. But I understand even Atletico players have complained about it. If you actually watch the first goal back, Kinski obviously slips and gives the ball away. And as Atleti regain possession, watch Griezmann. He slips as well.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
Before Llorente scores. So yeah, it's obviously a little bit of a mess, but it wasn't noticeable in the stadium that the pitch was a problem. Just that people seem to be slipping a lot, and I think your take on that is wear longer studs.
Yeah, definitely.
Is the first thing that comes to mind. Who knows? They might have done it, and it's still a problem. I don't know. What obviously unfolded in that first 15 minutes. You think sometimes when you go to football regularly, you've seen it all.
Yeah.
And then something happens and reminds you that you haven't. So the first goal, Kinski obviously slips. It's a bit of a mare. They take advantage. Fine. Van der Ven then slips for the second goal. You're like, okay, this is brutally. It's unfortunate, right? It's two players have slipped. And I didn't think we played that badly in the opening 13, 14 minutes, actually. Wasn't like you expect, Tottenham are 3-0 down in 15 minutes. They've got murdered. Well, no, we made three mistakes and they scored three goals. The third one, obviously, you can't blame the pitch. It's a brutal cock up. I said something on the weekend of last week, which a lot of people have reminded me of. And okay, it's not going to be 3 games in goal for Kinski. It's just going to be 1. He's not going to get another chance. But I have to say, I didn't think it would be through his feet that he cocked up.
No.
I thought it would be his inability at dealing with set plays.
Crosses, yeah.
And his actual inability in terms of his shot stopping, unfortunately. However, I don't want to dig the lad out. He's not through lack of effort or anything like that. He did just mistakes. And he's 22, which for a goalkeeper, really, he's more like 17, 18 in terms of football years. You just don't get many goalkeepers knocking about at 22. People like Donnarumma are like such an exception to the rule.
Buffon back in the day, yeah.
Yeah, another one, obviously. But most, even if you look at, say, many of the England goalkeepers over this century and stuff, like how regularly were they playing at like 20, 21?
Yeah.
James Trafford is another one. He's beginning to look like an outlier. Is he playing regularly for City?
Lamans is 23, isn't he? He's doing very well for a 23-year-old, yeah.
Yeah. So for him, unfortunately, I mean, he might have to just go and play somewhere else now because I don't think that night won't go away in people's minds now. I hope it's obviously recoverable for him. He's 22. He could end up having a very, very good goalkeeping career. But unfortunately, I kind of knew in my heart that replacing Vicario in goal was not going to be the way to go, despite everyone's frustrations with Vicario. And Vic will come back in. Your view on the fact that they subbed Kinski?
I think they could have left until half time myself, but not having seen the whole game, I don't know whether he was just a bag of nerves literally every time he got the ball, whether it was because you sort of think at 3-0 the damage is done to an extent. It's just such a public humiliation. The thing I feel most strongly about the whole thing is the fact that Tudor didn't even acknowledge him as he went off the pitch. How much would it have took to just give him a little,
around him, have a little word,
little tap on the shoulder, a little hug, something like that?
Yeah, I agree.
Because he must have, you just can't imagine how badly he must have been feeling. And I thought it was really good. Admittedly, on the limited highlights, I've seen that quite a few of your lads went up to him and gave him a hug.
I think it was reported Solanke, Gallagher,
and down the tunnel with him. Yeah.
Someone else, forgive me, I can't remember who, but yeah, they went into the dressing room with him, or went after him to check on him in the dressing room and stuff, which is nice.
I think that's piss poor from Tudor, to be honest.
Of course,
to be quite
honest.
I
agree with you. It's almost the worst thing he did all night.
Yeah.
Listen, the fact that people can be hindsight about picking him, but there's a lot of Tottenham fans were asking for this. Don't hear much out of them at the moment, very understandably. Um, and when the team dropped, okay, because I'd said to you, I think that this is irrelevant. Let's see, because I think people it will do Vic a favour
Yeah.
actually for the running. It's worth noting quite what we do now under the circumstance if Vicario got injured.
Brandon Austin or something.
How quickly people change their tune. Get Vicario out the team. They'll all be panicking now if he gets injured.
Rush keeper.
Would you play Kinski or Brandon Austin? I don't know.
Uh,
I don't know because he's not just. He can't afford to almost have another episode like this, basically, with Kinski at the moment. Kinski is a better goalkeeper than Austin, ultimately.
yeah. I
Yeah,
think the fans would really get behind Kinski though if he was to come back. It's all
yeah, yeah,
hypothetical,
yeah,
isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah,
But
yeah,
I think most
yeah,
people must feel sorry for
yeah,
Kinski after that.
yeah. The thing that didn't help hasn't helped Vic is there's occasions where he's acted like a dickhead to the crowd.
Yeah.
Right. So that's Kinski's just cocked up. He's a young man. Yeah, people would want to fully get behind him, but it wouldn't stop the panic in the ground from people when the ball went back to him, for example, of what's he going to do. And
Yeah.
because what he's ended up doing in that moment is, and I think you remember the League Cup semi final, first leg against us, he made his debut.
Yeah, yeah, I do. Yeah.
He looked unbelievable,
Yeah.
but with his distribution, he's so relaxed about it. So relaxed. He made several passes against you, which just on the night, everything seemed to come off, but a lot of it was quite risky. He got
That was
away with
after
it.
the Fraser Forster months, wasn't it? He just seemed like such a breath of fresh air to you after all that, I think, didn't
Yeah. Anyway, I think I understand why he took him. I don't have strong views one way or the other in terms of
he?
taking
No.
him off or not. I certainly think that the idea that Romero asked for him to be subbed is a possibility. But as I discussed on Tottenham on Patreon with Serge, I do think there's a possibility that Tudor called Romero over to ask him what he thought. Because I know from being in the ground, Vicario was ready to go. Like pretty much as the ball was hitting the net, it felt like Vicario was walking to the halfway line. So I think there was a conversation that was already happening, being like, "Get ready," after the first incident, basically. So yeah, okay, bit of a mess. Vic will be in goal presumably at the weekend. I don't know if Christian Romero is going to play
Yeah, I
because
heard about
he's
this.
clashed heads with João Paulinho right at the end. João Paulinho looked like a clear concussion because I could see in the ground they were putting him on the screen, and he was like, "No, no, I want to play." You know how players react. It's like,
Always do, yeah.
no, you're
Yeah.
getting told. Whereas with Romero, he obviously did carry on for a minute, and I'm not sure if he didn't just decide I'm going to stop the attack here by going down, and has then walked off the pitch, and the referee's kind of blown up straight afterwards, near enough. Because we effectively were down to 9 men at that point, because I don't think you can make concussion subs in UEFA. This is the sort of incident that might encourage that sort of thing to happen now. And we'd used all our subs. So Romero might be available, I'm not sure, but obviously Van der Ven is suspended. It's a shame because he'd get quite used to Anfield, I'm sure, David. Although some of his defending recently, if it continues, you won't be buying him either.
He'll fit right in.
Yeah, do you know what? Considering we were 4-0 down after 20 minutes,
Done all right.
truthfully, at that point, you're
Yeah.
thinking this could easily be like a 7-8-0 or something. So
Yeah.
I don't even really want to. Yeah, all right. Yeah, is kind of the word. I don't think it's a lack of effort. I think the words I would use without going into too much detail on Igor Tudor is he's got a way of winning the playing, which is super aggressive off the ball. At the moment, it's tactical suicide because they can't do it. If he deploys that system at Anfield, it will be a dream for you, mate. And that should be a dream for people like Salah. Now, he might go enough. Right, bollocks. I'm going to have to go a bit narrower and shut this down.
Yeah.
And then under which circumstances it's going to be a very different football match. But if Tottenham go to Anfield and try and defend as openly, man to man, all over the pitch, we're including centre backs, man to man, all over the pitch, Liverpool will manipulate that without a doubt. I've talked about Van Dijk assists from outside his own area and stuff. That's straight over the top for Salah Ekiteke on that.
Could be a little bit like the our last home game against West Ham, albeit that wasn't man to man all over the pitch. But I just mean in terms of Liverpool not being that great, but maybe opposition just giving us plenty of chances to just rack up the goals. And yeah, could be something like that.
I think what he'll do with Tudor, he's doing the presser today, so I think we can assume at this point he's doing the game at the weekend. It depends how the weekend goes. If Sunday is like humiliation, they might make a decision on Monday. It seems unlikely to perceive anything other than defeat anyway. So unless it's humiliation, I think he continues. I think he gets the Forest game, which is mad dangerous.
That's the real
And
quiz.
I think after Forest, there's a long break.
Yeah.
For Tottenham, it's a 3-week break, assuming we lose to it again in midweek, or at least don't go through. And I think after Forest, Tottenham will make a change. He's the most likely scenario at that point. If we manage to get a few results, then he'll carry on, I suppose.
Yeah.
So
it's all on that Forest game, isn't it?
But for those who are saying he's got to go now, like I understand that, but as I've said several times, I don't know what the solution is to this problem. Screaming for former legends or former managers is not the answer. Football has changed. Something like I'd mentioned Gareth Southgate to you last week. If they could make that sort of thing happen on the short term, I think that's the right sort of profile to go for in the short term. I have hit the low point of acceptance in my life that Sean Dyche would be okay. I mean, imagine you telling me that. Well, when I was in Bilbao, Sean Dyche might be your solution next year. Fucking hell. The word going around is he doesn't want it. Get rejected by Sean Dyche now because again, Tottenham have part themselves into a situation where they're only looking at a short-term option.
Probably be Ryan Mason, wouldn't it? All likelihood. He's just been sacked at West Brom.
I've heard that when Mason left the club, there was a bit of a falling out with the people running the club as a possibility. So it's only a rumour that I've heard. That maybe be a logical one to people. I don't know what the solution is. Right, that's enough Tottenham stuff. There was another game involving an English side Tuesday night, which you watched, David. I understand Newcastle were quite a bit unfortunate, yeah?
Yeah, very unfortunate. They were the much better side than Barcelona. They must be sick, Newcastle fans, not to have won that game. Barca were pretty poor, got to say. They far from impressed. I thought Lewis Hall did a great job on Lamine Yamal. Just barely gave him a sniff, to be honest. Bodes very well for England in terms of left back choices because, yeah, very, very noticeable what a good game Lewis Hall had. Newcastle, no Valdemar Orvis in the lineup, so they went with the front three of Ilanga, who that's as well as I've seen him play for Newcastle. Had a great game on the right. Well, I wouldn't say a great game, a very good game on the right hand side. Eddie Howe went with Asula through the middle and Barnes on the left. So yeah, no Gordon either. He was ill before the game, so didn't start on that one. So it was a bit of a unexpected looking front three, but they were a handful for Barcelona. Plenty of chances. They were definitely in the ascendancy for most of the game. They didn't break the deadlock until about 5 minutes from time, Newcastle having hit the woodwork through Barnes, and they had a clear offside goal from Joe Linton ruled out as well. But yeah, nice bit of play from Jacob Murphy on the right, and Barnes doesn't connect very well with it really, but just does enough to put it in. And you think, yeah, a 1-0 win for Newcastle is the least they deserve there really. Yeah, bit of a nice bit of play from Olmo in fairness, to sort of last kick of the game, sort of swerves his body to sort of force the error out of Chow to bring him down, and it is a penalty, I think. Yeah. And Yamal puts the penalty in, and it's literally the last kick of the game. So yeah, it's very, very unlucky, really. I've got to say, like, the ref was terrible, and Newcastle fans wouldn't forgive me for not mentioning that, I don't think. There was Yamal and Firmin, who were both on yellow cards, actually, because I know that because I picked them both in what was a dreadful UCL fantasy week for me. I was like,
I finally got my Alvarez returns.
Yeah.
Finally.
They should both clearly have been booked. So there's absolutely no question about it. And what the ref was thinking, not booking them. Because if they were both out at the second leg, that's a real touch for Newcastle going into next week. So, Yeah, I don't know. I just can't believe that they weren't booked really. But yeah, good performance from Newcastle. They were they were good against United in the Premier League on a midweek recently. Then they were poor, comparatively poor against City in the FA Cup, and then very good again this week. So we'll see what they serve up at Stamford Bridge tomorrow. But yeah, they didn't get what they deserved there. Newcastle, they were pretty good against Barcelona, I thought.
Yeah, they'll still have a chance in the Camp Nou
Yeah,
because Barcelona are.
this isn't a great Barca side. Yeah,
No, I'm aware. We say that, but obviously in the likes of Yamal and Rafinha and Lewandowski up front
yeah.
and Pedri, like with it, they do some hurt to you.
The abilities there, yeah, definitely.
Correct. But they will give you such a chance. Anything that's got speed is capable of hurting them. Most of us would have seen the semi-finals with Inter Milan last year. It's no different. I mean, Araujo on Barnes' goal. I know that's from a crossing situation. What is he? What is he doing
Mm.
at that stage of a game at 0-0?
Yeah.
Just looks at Harvey Barnes several times. I'm not going to bother with that. Don't think the goalkeeper's magnificent either.
Keeper in the back four. Kubasi's obviously very highly rated, but when they play that high line, the chances are there for you if you can get through them, definitely.
Yeah, so it's not improbable Newcastle will go there and get a result. I don't think they will, in all
No.
honesty, but they're not incapable of doing so. I wish them well out there. Arsenal, I wish less well. Sorry, I was going to say it's not personal. It is.
It is personal for you. For you, it's personal. I have no problem with them.
I understand you watched this and it was a thriller, David. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're such a dick, honestly. Like,
Only David knows. Are you going to tell him or not? No.
oh, I'll tell her. I've got nothing to hide.
Look, I'll say it openly. I fell asleep during Villa yesterday. Fine. There you go.
So we were messaging about what we're going to talk about today. Like, what have we watched this week? And I said, like, off the record, three crucial words there, everyone. I said I nodded off during the Arsenal game because it wasn't. It's a perfectly good result for Arsenal, but yeah, I remember Martinelli hitting the bar in the first half. Really good move, actually. Good step over from Eze. And then the next thing I knew, I woke up and Leverkusen were winning the game 1-0, which is about, including half time, probably about half an hour later, I think. So, yeah, I had a little nana nap.
I wasn't going to bother, but I'd caught wind once. To be honest, I didn't even get home before the game started. I'd caught wind that Leverkusen were winning, so it got stuck on. And Arsenal were dominating the ball. Leverkusen were very compact, difficult to hurt and stuff. But yeah, you're quite right. The result for Arsenal is fine. You'd be very confident that they'll finish the job at the Emirates. Penalty is questionable. It's one that VAR is probably not going to get involved with because clearly Madareki's foot gets caught underneath the Leverkusen player's body. Does he go down rather easy? Yes, of course he does. But actually, it's good play because he ain't getting shit if he stays on his feet.
Oh, no, he's not.
Like it or not, it's the reality. He's got to go down and risk a yellow card potentially at that point. There's certainly no way that VAR would have gone, it's a penalty had the referee not give it. But I don't think they could probably overturn it. And I must say, when I was watching it live straight away, I went, oh, that's a penalty. So I can understand the referee's decision on that point. I imagine Arsenal will still go pretty strong against Everton tomorrow. I think. I can't see them wanting to take their eyes off the ball. Yeah, you might get some little bits rotate. But as I said, Saka came off quite early against Everton, so I'm sure that he starts, for example. So I think they'll still go quite strong tomorrow. We was always less worried about Arsenal for this coming game week for rotation than Chelsea and Manchester City. I think we're going to be bigger concerns. I think that's still correct. Arsenal, should they go through, highly likely have a trip to the Arctic Circle.
Yeah.
It's easy there. No pressure. This Bodo story is quite something, isn't it? It just continues.
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't seen any of this game, I've got to be honest. But it's a hell of a result, isn't it? To when we did our UCL pod last week, I made the point that it's a very non-Portuguese environment for a team to go to.
I don't know if it's an environment for anybody.
Yeah, that's exactly what you said at the time. Yeah, it's Yeah, it's a handful to play Bodo on their home turf. And it's
Astro pitch in the Champions League quarterfinal.
yeah,
It's
but they've
quite
they've
potentially something, isn't it?
they've had some very startling results on the road as well, haven't they? They beat Inter in the San Siro. They've won in the Atletico where you were in the week. So they're just a very, very good side.
They are.
Can't see Sporting turning that round, obviously. So it does look
When,
more than
when,
likely.
honestly, when they get it into the final third, some of the intricacies of how they play is beautiful to watch.
Mm.
This is not for anyone who hasn't seen them. It's not just all plucky. They are, I guess, they're very much underdog, but it's not all plucky underdog. Kind of you associate if a team like this or of that size gets this far, it must be kind of physicality, that sort of thing. It's not. They
No.
play beautiful stuff. And it's not just at home. They won in the Wonder. They won in the San Siro. So, look, do I think they would have a prayer against Arsenal? Absolutely not. But I tell you what, in that first leg, they'll give them a fright if they end up playing them. It's not easy, and the adaptation of the pitch is tricky.
Mm-hmm.
If Arsenal went to Bodo, I promise you, walking out of there with a draw will be fine, as it has obviously been here for Arsenal. Arsenal's most likely opponents in a final at the moment would probably appear to be Bayern Munich. They didn't do bad the other night, David.
No, they didn't. Yeah, that's an unbelievable result, isn't it? With no Harry Kane either. You wonder whether he'll even sort of appear in the second leg, given
I
the
thought you was
lead
going
that
to say,
they've
I
got.
wonder if he'll get back in the team.
Yeah,
Yes.
but if he's got a bit of a knock, he probably doesn't need to sort of play on. Is it
By
Tuesday
the
or
way,
Wednesday?
he'd be pissed that they've scored 6 goals and he's not
Yeah,
been a part of it, right?
Nicholas Jackson getting a game and a goal. Yeah, Elise, I think Elise took a yellow as well, didn't he? So he can miss the second leg as well. Yeah, very, very, very impressive result that for
Allegedly, but smart. I mean, his two
yeah.
goals are brilliant,
Oh, he's
Michael
so
Elise.
good.
Yeah.
He is so good.
That
Yeah,
front three, obviously, I know Kane's not played this one, but Elise, Diaz, Kane, he's on it. And now, obviously, importantly for Bayern, they've got obviously Musiala back to play behind that as well. So
yeah, they look good.
I have question marks about them defensively as well, personally. But offensively, yeah, very dangerous. Very dangerous. They will think now that they are going to play Real Madrid
Yeah,
in the quarterfinals, which obviously would have been Manchester City's route. Now, if anyone's capable of this sort of turnaround, I would suggest City are it, particularly if they scored early. And I know the Etihad gets criticised for its atmosphere and stuff. I've been at the Etihad in the Champions League knockout tie where they've been chasing and the atmosphere has been good. If they get an early goal, they'll be right at it, City, and fancy it. I don't think that they'll do it, probably. I have to say, I was so impressed with Madrid. Individually, first and foremost, we must mention Valverde.
some hat trick that, isn't it? Yeah.
Not bad. The third goal,
Oof.
the missus must have thought, what is going on? I shouted, what a goal, before it had even hit the net. It was like, wow. I didn't care who won or lost, but it was one of them from a neutral. Oh, what have I just seen?
Yeah.
What a goal. There's absolutely no doubt he means that touch over
Oh
Mark
yeah.
Gay. It's
Yeah.
a brilliant little pass from Brahim Diaz before that as well. Stunning goal, which had began with Vinicius Jr. carrying down the left hand side and stuff. Absolutely stunning goal. What I was really impressed with Madrid was their football. It might sound obvious, but I think so much I've watched them in recent years, and obviously we've got such explosive pace on transit, you want to use it as quickly as possible. But the football that they played, the trust in each other to play out from the back, everybody just absolutely spot on. The tempo that they played with possession. I don't. When we say tempo, we think about running a lot. How quickly do you get it forward? I'm just talking about firing passes into people and trusting each other. Very, very good. Trent was pretty solid. He looked like he was going to be in trouble in the first 10 minutes, David, because Doku, it was clear, it was like, Doku, get at him and go at him.
Doku's had his way with him before, yeah.
But Valverde, not only did he score a hat trick, the amount of work he put into support Trent on that side, really good. Arda Güler, good player. He played a young boy, Thiago Piatric, who nearly cocked up for what would have been a Nico O'Reilly goal towards the end. Only 18, didn't look out of place, really tidy. Howson is a very calm and efficient centre back, which I think is good for them because Rudiger is so aggressive in everything he obviously does. Goalkeeper is outstanding. Courtois,
He's the best, I
brilliant in
think.
goal.
I think he's the best keeper in the world. Yeah.
I can't dispute that. I don't think. I think that's probably correct. And Vinicius just carries such a threat. I mean, even the penalty is obviously shit in the second half, but even he's kind of, I don't want to say fucked up the opportunity to score. He's made his life a little bit more difficult. But that touch to just get it away from Donnarumma, he knows exactly what he's doing. From the City perspective, first and foremost, the first goal is a little bit weird in Donnarumma's pulling his arm away. I understand it. I mean, we can all look at the TV. What's he putting his arm away for? He's in the box. It's happened in a millisecond. In that millisecond, he must think because he's sliding. He hasn't got a consciousness of where his body is. We can look at it from above and see where he is.
Yeah.
But he's sliding towards the ball. He must, for a millisecond, think, "I'm off if I touch this."
Could be a red
I
card.
must do.
Yeah.
And he just decides to like accept his fate, basically. But he made some other good saves in the game, by the way. I think Pep will massively regret his selection. When I saw the team with Haaland, Semenyo, Doku, and Savino all in it, I thought my instinct was he thinks because Madrid have got so many injuries at the moment, we're gonna do them tonight. Gonna get this done, and it backfired
Hmm.
ultimately. The pressing wasn't right. The wide players didn't have the impact that you'd wanted. I think I found Semenyo was just too central first half. He'd moved him into a wider area in the second half. Didn't have a huge impact. Very unlucky with one cross before he got subbed, which Rudiger did amazing to intercept. Wasn't right. I found Rodri and Bernardo Silva a little bit overwhelmed in midfield at times. They're obviously both brilliant players, and the work Bernardo Silva gets through, by the way, to get back with Rodri and also support, incredible, really. But normally with City, you just feel like they've always got an extra man in midfield. This was the opposite.
Right.
Felt like they were struggling at times. And there were some individual problem moments. I think O'Reilly on the first goal, I understood the Kusanov selection because he thought that will deal with Vinicius Jr. better than when he drifts out that way rather than Nunes. But I think they missed Nunes actually.
He's
And
done
I
a good
think
job.
that might have also influenced the selection of Savino out there. Was thinking I want something because Nunes is very comfortable being high and wide, whereas there was a lot more in this with Kusanov tucking in, moving O'Reilly obviously inverted into higher positions. Yeah, just kind of all went wrong for City on the night. But Mark Gay had a really difficult night. He's always so composed. It wasn't terrible, but he just had a few moments where he normally looks completely unflustered, and he did a few times. And getting twatted in the Bernabeu will make people react differently to your normal circumstances and surroundings. So
It's a level he's not been massively used to, isn't it? That sort of environment with respect to playing at Palace for
yeah.
all this time.
By the way, he's England's best defender,
Yeah, but England haven't had games
and
that
there's no
difficult.
doubt that he's good enough to play for Man City. I'm just saying,
Yeah, yeah.
he had a difficult night.
Oh, 100%.
That's all.
Yeah.
Probably not helped by the fact Valverde has done it to him, especially on that third goal.
Great goal.
That even makes it even better in the fact that Gay is such a solid and reliable defender. He's not done it to someone who's always rash and always dives in.
Yeah.
He's kidded a very good defender, Valverde. What's interesting in reflection, lots to talk about Haaland afterwards, obviously, and discussions we've had in the past about Manchester City and are they a better team as a cohesive unit, maybe without him. Look how they played at Newcastle last week. With a weaker lineup, really, than what started in Madrid. And I know Newcastle didn't play well the longer the game went on, but they looked particularly good last weekend. The fluidity. You can't play with the same fluidity in terms of movement of parts with Haaland in the team. I don't think this system, truthfully, with Semenyo right up alongside him, works great. I don't think. I think it's making teams more compact against them, and he's finding space a little bit more difficult at this moment. However, this was the best I've seen of Real Madrid in a very long time, and there was no Kylian Mbappe either.
Yeah.
What do we read into this? Is there something to be said about this, about a team ethic of a team without a superstar? And by the way, I'm not labeling here that Haaland doesn't work or Mbappe doesn't work, but they are such the world class players. You have to play to their strengths a little bit more. Real Madrid played like a team. The first time I truly seen them in a big big game, play like a team in years. And their best player wasn't on the pitch. And it's worth saying, no Jude either.
Still have Vinicius, didn't they? He'd class himself as a superstar, wouldn't he? But
Yeah,
I'd
but
say,
they left him as an outlet. So it's one.
yeah,
He's one. And Haaland is not the outlet in the same way of Vinicius is. Obviously, you can play him over the top and you can feed into him. But with Vinny, all you have to do is give him the ball and he might
yeah,
put 50 yards together for you, right?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it sort of depends on what the game plan is when these superstars are available. I think, doesn't it? If when Mbappe's available, it would be half tempting to just say give Mbappe the ball whenever you can because he'll win us the game. But when he's not around, then that's not a factor, and the other players have to step up, don't they? So there might be a little bit of that, but yeah, it was very, very surprising result. It's been a bad week, hasn't it, for English clubs? Literally only Villa have won out of nine clubs. I don't know whether that has any bearing on top five. I don't think it does at the moment, does it? But
You remember a conversation we had on UCL Fantasy podcast a couple of weeks ago? I asked you a question towards the end of it. It was a theory that I'd heard. It wasn't my theory.
Premier League clubs getting worse the more the season went on.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Essentially, the knockout stages are much tougher for the English clubs.
Yeah.
Because of how much you can't take your eye off the league.
Yeah, there's no gimmies in the Premier League.
Whereas others can. Real Madrid have had sloppy results in La Liga recently. Paris Saint-Germain, and we'll talk about in a sec, lost at home to Monaco on Friday night. So, I mean, the one thing that also, obviously, I was in the Bernabeu myself on Tuesday. Their obsession with that competition is so obvious. Yeah. So obvious. I mean, when you do the tour and you see their 15 Champions Leagues line up, it's ridiculous.
It's absurd, yeah.
Honestly, you have to see. You won 15 Champions Leagues.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, who's next? Is it Milan next?
Milano. Yeah, I think it's Milan. Yeah.
Is it 6? I forget. But they have an obsession with this competition.
Liverpool have won 6. Milan have won about 9, I think, something like that. I'd have to check anyway. Yeah.
Anyway, Madrid have got the most, clearly. Talk to me about PSG then. You watched this one.
Yeah, great game, actually. Probably as impressed as you can be around a team who've just lost 5-2, actually. I thought Chelsea did a lot right.
I forgot to do my what's the time jokes, and because he's actually literally 5-2 at this very moment when me and David are recording, by the way. Literally is.
Chelsea.
I realise that joke is on me as well, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
That was kind of the point that I've forgotten to do.
Good point, yeah. 2 5-2s this week. Chelsea did a lot right in this game. Really, really good watch from start to finish, actually. End to end. Both teams wanted to play football. There was no nonsense in terms of, play acting or time wasting, or it was just the game was played at a really good,
just pushing over ball boys instead.
Yeah, well, that came later on. Yeah, before all that materialized. Chelsea did really well, and I would say up until PSG scored the third goal, possibly had the best of it. I mean, PSG have scored 5 goals there, and from an XG of 0.8, I think it is. Rafinha made that point after the game. He spoke really well after the game, actually. Like I do really like Liam Rafinha. I'm
not sure all the Chelsea fans do at the moment.
As a guy, yeah, maybe as a manager, but the jury's
no, I'm not judging him on his human nature. I think that we're judging. There's concerns about the team at the moment.
Yeah, Chelsea. I mean, I've watched them quite a bit recently through this pod, just in terms of covering games and stuff. You sort of you forget how young they are as a team a lot of the time. Given what they're achieving, maybe they definitely need a sort of serviceable top-class goalkeeper. Both of them aren't really the answer, I don't think. There's maybe a lack of, a good amount of senior pros. They've had Thiago Silva in the past and players like that. They're kind of all growing together as a team, and mistakes happen when that happens. But there's so much to sort of be hopeful for if you're a Chelsea fan, I think, because of the sort of relatively young age of the team. The game ultimately has got away from them because of talking about goalkeepers again, Jorgensen, who I was starting to think had actually done all right for most of the game, but he did play a couple of risky passes and he played one too many to just sort of give a mad goal away. Although I think Vitinha takes it really, really well, the third goal.
What
And
a
then,
player he is, by the way.
yeah,
We've talked about him before.
lovely little sort of lob over
It's
the keeper.
brilliant, man.
Kvaratskhelia, who didn't start, comes on. First one's a banger. I mean, I wish Liverpool had a play like him out wide.
I mean, David. So
We
does
all do.
everybody.
Yeah, yeah. I think he was maybe gettable for Liverpool at one point, but we still had Diaz at the time. Um, and then the fifth goal, yeah, it then looks a really bad result for Chelsea, but it's not really representative of the game as a whole, really. And yeah, you can't see them turning that round, unfortunately, in the second leg. But
Well, they
yeah,
got 3 and 1/2 against Paris last summer.
I think there's enough firepower the other way though to
Chances are these ties, one of them will end up being a bit mad, where you'll think, oh, it's on. Probably
yeah,
one
yeah.
of the Chelsea or the City games. You'll
Usually
think,
ends
or maybe it'll end up being a sporting game. You'll be like,
crazy
oh, it's on.
things. Yeah,
Yeah,
crazy
it
things happen in
does.
these second legs. Yeah, um, yeah. PSG were not convincing. I mean, their keeper's not convincing. I think he's garbage, to be honest. That's Safanov.
I keep speaking to you about him. That's I have a huge concern with them over that.
Never trust a keeper with a ponytail. Um, but Dembele scored a good goal for them. He was clean through. I remember thinking when he was clean through, I was thinking, come on then, Ballon d'Or winner. Let's see what you've got here. And
He shows you, didn't he?
shows me, yeah.
Yeah.
Hakimi made the run alongside him.
I was going to say that's so important because it took Cucurella out.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a little
I was
nick
going
that
to
takes
make
it
one of them
past
weird
Jorgensen.
statements like, it's a good lesson for kids, expecting loads of kids to be listening to this. But yeah, the fact that Hakimi doesn't just think, oh, it's Dembele, I'll never get the ball. Hakimi makes the run that leaves Dembele with the one-on-one opportunity. Otherwise, he doesn't score. So
Fofana did really well to sort of cover over, actually. Didn't do a lot wrong, really. But yeah, there's a little nick and it takes it past Jorgensen. Great game. Really, really enjoyed it. Just as a football fan, it was good.
Yeah, just on the goalkeeper situation alone, for me, PSG are not as strong as they were last year.
There's no doubt about that.
But also, I think until most of us saw their first leg against you at the same stage last year, no one truly thought that they maybe had the minerals to go all the way. And I mean, I said in the pods after that first day, it was the best performance I'd seen from any team all season, even though they lost to you in that first day. It was stunning. How did they lose that night?
Alisson, that's how
Alisson was a very big reason. Yeah, correct. Otherwise, it's essentially very similar, same team. And that might stand them in good stead towards the end where they know how to get over the line. Those sort of things might be important. But I'm concerned about the goalkeeper situation. I imagine Chelsea fans are too.
Yeah.
I'm a bit perplexed by this. And I know Robert Sanchez is Marmite for a lot of Chelsea fans, and I think a lot of neutrals, and I think you're right to say most of us think, yeah, do you know what? It'll probably need another goalkeeper at some stage. I don't know in what world Jorgensen would be better.
I think they've got one, haven't they? Penders, is it? He's coming
Well,
in the summer.
He'll come back in the summer and may well be Chelsea's number one next year, yeah. But I don't think... I'm struggling to think. I know Sanchez had a difficult moment with the set plays against Arsenal. Fucking hell. So do a lot of people. It just seemed like a really odd time to change because I don't think he'd been doing that bad.
Yeah.
I think he'd been doing okay.
I agree.
And,
yeah.
All right. The optics of the fact that Jorgensen's pass to Barcola gets cuts out and leads to Vitinha's goal is obviously really bad. But if you actually look at it, even if he makes the pass, he's putting Cole Palmer, who he's looking for, in so much trouble that it's highly likely the turnover is happening anyway and maybe still leads to the same eventuality. Have you seen the image of Enzo Fernandez telling him if people are pushing, like, go over the top and stuff?
Yeah. He's spot on, I think. Yeah.
Chelsea fans, let me know if I'm wrong. Or you think Jorgensen is a better option than Sanchez. I'm surprised. I'm very surprised at decision making on this. If you're a Robert Sanchez owner in FPL, I mean, could it change back again now?
Seems, yeah. There's no reason why not. I don't think.
I don't know what to do with that. If I owned him, I
I
suppose
think
if you own Sanchez, you might as well start him. It's highly unlikely he'd come off the bench, for example.
and most people who a fair amount would have Dubravka as a backup, wouldn't they? So this weekend you just have to roll with Dubravka if Sanchez doesn't get the start, I suppose.
Yeah, it's probably not worth a goalkeeper transfer for most people when they're going to wild card very soon. If you've just
Yeah.
got Dubravka and he plays in the blank, the Bournemouth, Fulham, Brighton would be Burnley's run till 32s. It's not the worst run of fixtures.
No.
But I'd probably bust Sanchez in goal. And there's every chance you might get signed. Newcastle obviously could rotate. We've spoken about Chelsea rotating potentially on Saturday. Newcastle obviously could as well. I don't think Chelsea mass rotate. I think always your consciousness about particularly Cole Palmer and Reece James. João Pedro, I would say, probably plays.
Reece James was in midfield and yeah, more than fine there. He's just a good footballer, isn't he? Very good footballer.
Okay. English teams, how many go through?
I think we'll go through. I am afraid to say I don't think you will. Don't know. Didn't know how to break that to you. Arsenal, yeah. City, you couldn't really say yes to that, could you? With three down, but I agree with what you say. If an early goal, they might shit themselves. Madrid, you never know. Newcastle, no, I don't think. And who else? Who am I missing? Chelsea, no. So Liverpool, Arsenal,
Yeah, I think three will go through. Arsenal, Liverpool, Tottenham. I can't even keep a straight face.
of course, yeah.
By the way, there's a disciplinary something or other is happening with Pedro Neto following this incident with the ball boy. He's such an important player for them in games
great.
like this.
He did great for the Enzo Fernandez goal. It's very, very funny interview, I thought, with Pedro Neto after the game because
I gave him my shirt.
Yeah. He said sorry about a dozen times in about 2 minutes. It was like obviously a PR assault to say please don't.
I liked the I don't know if you thought this, but when he said, "Oh, I'm not that sort of person," and I thought you got sent off like 2 weeks ago at Arsenal. We're all going, "Is there a disciplinary problem?" And this sort of thing is happening, and you're like, "Come on, I get it. He wants the ball, but it's really frustrating. You've just got to stand there and do nothing.
Chelsea have got to get better at this stuff. Like every game, there's a problem, disciplinary problem. They're a young team, as I've just said, but they need to wise up with staying on the right side of the rules, I think.
Before anyone from Chelsea comes to me, I realise there's a disciplinary problem at Tottenham as well. Let's have a quick wrap of the Thursday football. So I watched Villa against Lille. I fell asleep in the first half.
Terrible behaviour.
Yeah, it was dreadful stuff. It wasn't good at all. And I only woke up because the wife came home and she pretty much tore my ear off for all of the second half. So I didn't take too much notice of it. I must be honest. Brilliant headed goal from Ollie Watkins.
Yeah, it is
some header. After actually Buendia does really well to get the first flick on a direct pass from Ezri Konsa. He should have got a second as well, Ollie Watkins. He tries to go around the goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper does sound really clever. As Watkins pushed the ball past him, he just kind of almost gets on all fours and doesn't make a movement towards Watkins. It just makes his life like, what are you going to do then? Because I think you've overrun it. And Watkins almost kind of ends up standing on him to like get over the ball. And it just, yeah, he cocked it up really. And that would have buried the tie, I think, at 2. It's not done at 1. I think it is worth noting that Villa picked a very strong lineup. There wasn't a pissing about with the team. So I think bar Bogard at right back, it was essentially the team that had lost to Chelsea the week earlier. Obviously, Jadon Sancho is ineligible at Manchester United at the weekend. Otherwise, and obviously Matty Cash might or might not be back for the weekend. Close enough to their strongest 11, near enough. It could always be Dean or Maatson. But close enough.
Harvey Elliott came on,
and that's worth noting that they've not gone, oh, it's been shit in the league. Okay, this qualifying for Champions League. Ultimately, whether Villa finish top 5 or win this trophy, then it's the same outcome of Champions League football next year. But I know which one Villa fans would rather, and it's winning the competition.
Winning something.
It's 30 years. They're desperate for it, Villa fans.
Of course, yeah.
I wish them luck in it. They could run into Nottingham Forest in a semi-final. Probably won't. on what I watched last night. Villa, by the way, in the quarterfinals will play the winner of Bologna against Roma. So they know that they're going to Italy. Those two Italian sides drew 1-1 last night. Forest would walk into Porto, probably, who won 2-1 in Stuttgart in the first leg. But I watched Forest last night. I hadn't intended to, but it ended up just staying on the television after Villa. Also, quite a strong lineup from Forest. Back three. Jair Cunha went off injured after about 10 minutes, so Milenkovic ended up coming on and playing the whole game. They lost 1-0. They probably shouldn't have lost. I want to say Midtjylland were good on the ball. They tried to play football all the way through. Really did try and play some nice stuff. Philip Billing, as a player people will be familiar with, obviously plays for them. Forest's problem is in front of goal. And they might have another little problem going into Sunday because those who watched the game, if you didn't, it's difficult to express to you quite how much it rained.
Yeah.
Very quickly went from, it's a bit drizzly at the City Ground. So within about 15 minutes going,
Biblical.
if this continues, this game might be in trouble. I mean, there was points you were watching it, and it was like the screen was getting obscured to make out who the players were. It was that heavy how it came down. There was surface water stayed on the pitch. I mentioned it in reference to, obviously, they've got a big game against Fulham on Sunday. And it'd be interesting to see if they struggle towards the end of the game.
Okay.
I don't know what you'd think of this in terms of, is that more fatiguing to try and put the effort in when you're chasing a game on a surface like that? I just consciously felt like it must be.
You think with the sort of standard of Premier League pitches these days, though, would it still be sort of...
It's just more difficult to run, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't doubt that, yeah, but the sort
I'm not thinking about Sunday. I'm talking about the effect of the legs of what happened
from last
night.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Sorry, I'm with you. Yeah, potentially. Yeah. That was... I saw the highlights of it. Yeah, the rain really was torrential. Yeah, could be. Yeah.
For what it's worth, I do think Forest will win on Sunday. It does sound like we'll obviously get confirmation from Marco Silva later, but Harry Wilson's done an interview suggesting that he's probably going to be available for Fulham. That's a big game for Forest at the weekend.
They could be on the beach soon, Fulham, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Lewis James, our Fulham correspondent, put on our Slack after they lost to Southampton last week, said season over. And he warned this actually on a COTC not long ago as well. So, yeah, a bit concerned about Fulham going into that game at the weekend, having lost to West Ham after beating my team. Cheers. Thanks, Fulham. Love you loads. I expect more out of you at the weekend. No pressure if you're listening, yeah? For Forest, I think the notable thing for fantasy is just how much more advanced Elliot Anderson is getting. Real license to go under this system, and yet still seems to be in and around the play all the time. I think you would worry for them if something happened to him.
Yeah, he's a top player
for this, right? Yeah, he's outstanding.
Yeah.
Their problem is scoring goals. If they end up going down, that's why they will go down.
Yeah.
Because the wide players, Hudson-Odoi, by the way, always feels like he terrorizes my team when he plays against us, but his output is not enough, really. I think Forest fans are growing increasingly frustrated, similar with Amari Hutchinson at the moment as well. Morgan Gibbs-White goes through little spells and then barren spells in terms of output of goals. And the midfield, like Anderson, etc., doesn't contribute much. Jesus is not going to be prolific. The boy Luca who come on, he's a target man, be dangerous towards the end of games when they're chasing. Doesn't look like he's going to get many. So if they go down, that'll be the reason why.
Chris would not back anytime soon, though.
Even last night, some of the chances they create shouldn't really lose the game.
Yeah.
There's a consequence for them, obviously. I'm looking at that game next week now and thinking I hope Forest win by 1.
Extra time.
Plays.
Yeah.
On what might already be heavy legs. Quite possibly, because obviously it's Tottenham Forest next week. And as a reminder, that's one of 2 Clash of Correspondents ahead of the blank. Tottenham versus Nottingham Forest with Ricky Saunders and Mark Southerns. That'll be Wednesday. You've got Everton versus Chelsea with Sean Norton and Gary Mantle for you next Tuesday as well. Just around that other stuff in Europa League, Robbie Keane's Ferencváros won again last night. beat Braga 2-0. Genk were winners 1-0 against Freiburg. There was a draw for Lyon away to Celta Vigo. He of famous enemy in Ghostbusters 2. Panathinaikos beat Real Betis 1-0. Both sides had a player sent off in that one. In the Conference League, neither me or David watched Palace, so we're not going to get into the detail of that too much. I do know Larnaca didn't even have a shot in the first half, and Larnaca won 1-0 in a game that they probably shouldn't have at Selhurst Park in the group stage. I think they've conceded one goal in the competition, Larnaca. I think
Oh,
I
they?
read this morning.
Wow.
So it's not going to be a gimme for Palace to turn this round. Interestingly, Jean-Philippe Mateta back off the bench last night. There weren't any huge real surprises in the competition last night. Palace will likely walk into Fiorentina in the quarterfinals if they go through, which would be nice for them because it's a proper glamour game then. Memories of Batistuta,
Oh, yeah.
etc. They beat Rakov 2-1, so still have work to do in the second leg. Miners drew 0-0 against Sigma Lumac. AEK Athens are nearly through. They won 4-0 away to Kelj, who remind me, David, I think from Slovenia, I want to say. They got to the quarterfinals of this competition last year. Strasbourg were 2-1 winners in Croatia against Rijeka. Rayo Vallecano 3-1 winners at Samsunspor. Shakhtar won by the same score in Poland against Lech Poznan. And AZ Alkmaar beat Sparta Praha 2-1 in the Netherlands.
They are
That's your,
Slovenian. Good shout.
that's your wrap of the European football, right? As said, guys, don't free hit this week. Yeah, definitely. If you've come this far and listened to the Chip Strategy podcast and gone, I might have a problem in 33 or 34. Don't decide to do it this week. And I wouldn't advise wildcarding either. But just for shits and giggles, go on in, David. Give us a free hit draft.
Yeah, for S's and G's. Here is my free hit team. Yeah, not in love with it. Just because it's in between.
The team I've got.
Yeah, it's in between European legs. So a lot of this, you could get some nasty surprises when the teams drop. But for what it's worth, I've got Callagher in goal, back three of Virgil, Gabriel, Timber. So double Arsenal defence against Everton. Bumo and Fernandez, because I think with United, you can at least be assured that they will go very strong. Gone with Semenyo and Wirtz to finish off the midfield. And then front three of Thiago, Ekitike, and Joao Pedro. Slightly stronger bench than I normally would, given the sort of uncertainty around some of the bigger teams. So Dubravka on the bench. Got Dango Utara first sub, at home to Wolves. Lacroix at home to Leeds, and James Hill. Yeah.
Tara on the bench is
Don't
a
like
vibe, David.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
No Mo Salah.
No Mo Salah. No.
Okay, interesting. During Timber, I would expect, by the way, still to play for Arsenal this weekend, but he is getting mentioned more and more just week on week. Like maybe you might need to give him a break at some point. And it's just worth considering with someone like him
Yeah.
that he'll almost definitely play against Leverkusen, you would think, on Tuesday. He definitely plays the final next Sunday. If there was to be a break, is this it?
Yeah.
Now, I would think that he still plays, and I think one of the reasons for that would be that if Illiman and Dyer plays outside, he'll want Timber against him rather than Ben White. That's ultimately the view.
That makes sense, yeah.
Okay. Similarities and differences from mine. So Kelleher in goal for me, also double Arsenal defence, but I factored the Timber scenario into my mind and have put Saliba with Gabriel. Because Saliba obviously has also had a little bit of a break recently. Obviously, he didn't play at Brighton, so I don't think there's any real concerns there. And I've also gone Virgil van Dijk. Mo Salah is in mine, David. In fact, normally we do this and we end up quite similar. My midfield is very different to yours. Bruno Fernandes is the only thing we've got in common. I've gone for 5 in there. So I've gone Fernandes, Salah, Saka, Sade, and Tavernier. I haven't gone Joao Pedro.
Yeah.
I've just gone Thiago and Ekiteke. We're in agreement. Ekiteke captain, Bruno Fernandes vice. On the bench, I've got Darlow, Hill, Richards, and Krupe. I like the kind of the Brentford, Liverpool, Arsenal heavy, all played at home, plus Fernandes, Tavernier.
Yeah.
Joao Pedro, I think, will start as said, but I'm looking at some good alternatives there. And the slightly cheaper way of doing it, the two up front allowed me comfortably to go Salah, Fernandes, and Saka. So I liked that. With Saka coming off early, if I was on a free hit, I'd probably want to take advantage of that this week. I'd think.
Yeah.
Wildcard draft, David. Go on.
Yeah, I mean, I hate this. Um, it was hard to know where to start with a wildcard draft, given everything you said on the chip strategy yesterday. There's just so much information to be unearthed. But so there's no Salah or Haaland in my wildcard draft. I'll get onto why in a minute. There's 3.2 million left in the bank. So reading it out, keepers are Kelleher and Verbruggen, Virgil Gabriel Chalobah, Harry Wilson, Bruno Fernandes, Declan Rice, Florian Wirtz, Igor Thiago, Hugo Ekitike, Joao Pedro, bench of Morgan Rogers, Joachim Anderson, and Jan Paul van Hecke. What I've done with this is that this is pretty good this weekend, pretty good next weekend for the blank. And you could look at, if you get to 32, you could take your Fulham lads out with the money in the bank and maybe look to bench boost as well with, say, Bumo and Harry Maguire or something like that. Get your bench boost out of the way.
In 32, just for clarity, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The options on the table, or you could just not do that.
I absolutely would not hate if someone was, I don't know, they've accidentally hit the button or something. It almost feels like the only reason why you do it at the moment. I would not mind if that was planned to bench boost in 32. Yeah, I wouldn't hate that.
You can get to 32 with this team and it's not on the table, and you could just roll again and then get to the double in 33 and make some changes there. But again, I'm not a fan of it, and you understand the risks if you don't go with one of the big hitters in Salah and Haaland. But I just think on the evidence of what we're seeing at the moment, you can take it on, I think. But don't wildcard this week, guys.
Still got Rodgers in the squad.
Yeah. Next week he's decent, and they got Sunderland at home fairly soon as well.
It's West Ham.
West Ham next week, but Sunderland at home not long after that, I think, isn't it?
That's 33.
33.
They're at Forest in 32.
Yeah.
Okay, so I tell you what I thought with this. I mean, again, it's awful. The team itself, it's not awful. It's the awfulness of trying to pick the path,
deal with what's ahead. Yeah.
So I tried to do it thinking about, okay, as it is, that's way almost you'd have to work towards at the moment. And I've factored in City Palace, there might be quite a big problem here, 31, 32. But I'd also want to take Haaland on, I think, if I was on wildcard at the moment. I think that would be right. But by consequence, I felt like Salah had to go in to make any adjustments I have to get him back, the easiest way of doing it. So I hadn't put Haaland in. But what I factored in was, I think, when I looked at the free hit draft, it was like, right, one Arsenal, but there's an awkwardness in that in the sense that they obviously blank next week. But I'd still want at least, say, Gabriel. And then Liverpool obviously look great this week. Talking about Bournemouth, good fixture. Fulham obviously have good 31. Brentford, good fixture this week. So when I factored in terms of why now, it's like we'd identified this period, 28 to 31, Liverpool, Bournemouth, Brentford, Fulham, great. So why wouldn't you still aim for those players who've still got good fixtures over like the next couple? Bournemouth and Fulham problematic 32, but Brentford and Liverpool not, right? So why would you still not want involvement in that? Now also with those four teams plus Bruno Fernandes, like at the moment they're all projected to be in 34 and not double 33. So unfortunately, what I felt like was if you were on wildcard now, you'd probably have to plan that you were going to run through 34, free hit 33, and then try not to do anything in terms of transfers so you could manipulate back to other players you wanted for 35 onwards. It's not the ideal way to do it, but I think if you're wildcarding now, you still want a good team now. Yeah, so that's how I viewed it. Yeah. So I went Kelleher and Jose Sarr as goalkeepers. The reason Jose Sarr is better fixture in 34 than Kelleher. That's it. That's generally the reason. So when I looked at the enabling keepers like Dubravka, Darlow, Sar's, like, well, from that, Sar's probably got the best of 34. Wouldn't want to play Keller away to United. So that takes out one of the Brentford players. Defence, Hill, Van Dijk, Gabriel is the same back three that I've got this weekend anyway. Anderson and Alderete, I went. So Alderete was thinking about 34, and also the transition of their fixtures 35 to 38 being quite good actually for the running. Joachim Anderson is obviously decent in the immediate as well. Midfield, as said, Salah would go in, wouldn't sacrifice Fernandes. Semenyo to still give me a slice of Manchester City at the moment, and under an eventuality would end up playing in 31 or 32. I don't need to be running back to three of them. Let's make sure that's a maximum of two. So leave Semenyo in for the minutes, fine. Dango Utara, Harry Wilson as first sub. So Wilson could cover Semenyo, assuming he doesn't play in 31. Up front, template front three if you don't go Haaland. Same as you. Thiago, Ekiteke, João Pedro.
Yep. Tricky wildcard in this week, definitely.
Yeah, I don't advise it, guys. That's your weekender done. What I do advise everyone to do this week is play it your way, but probably just lock out, subject to team news, possibly, guys. Next week, Game Review podcast be Monday. As I said, got two COTCs for you next week, Tuesday, Wednesday. So Ask James, I believe, on Thursday, and we'll do the weekender again next Friday. If you want to support the show, it's www.patreon.com/Planet FPL. But otherwise, just leaves me to say thanks to David. Be nice to each other, everyone. Smash a like, hit the sub, 5-star review goes a really long way. Have a great weekend, everyone. Cue music, please, Manchild.